What's going on, friends? Baltmatrix here, and today we're taking a look at Transformers Siege APEFACE. This figure came to me at Amazon.com, but it should be showing up at BBTS and other fine retailers shortly. The figure stands roughly the same size as a Voyager class figure, and it looks pretty good, except for all the schmutz. He is covered in schmutz. It's everywhere, except on the white plastic, which more about the white plastic in a little bit. Not counting his head, the figure comes with two accessories. The first is his gun, which is just a normal, everyday gun. I like it. The second accessory is this large shield that is painted in very, very glossy red. Another accessory that I like, but man, if you lose this, you're kind of screwed, especially for the jet mode. Height-wise, Grape Ape is smaller than Megatron, but scales almost exactly in height with Soundwave. However, you do notice that the giant nose cone sticking off his back is going to make him bigger than either of them. Now, this is where I get really annoyed with the figure. The shins are covered in silver paint, the shoulders are splattered with silver paint, and then the tip of that nose cone is splattered in silver paint as well, and it just makes the figure look bad. But it's not helped one bit by the white plastic. The head sculpt, however, is pretty good, and he looks just fine with the Titans Returns Titan Master ape face as well. Now, about this white plastic, it is terrible. It feels cheap, it feels brittle, it's really, really strange. And then apparently, it's nylon. It's not actually plastic, but super dense nylon, which, if that's true, Hasbro, you done screwed up, because this does not work. Ratchet, I have seen in person from Siege, is a perfect figure clad in white, and I was hoping that this figure would have that same white hue to him. Sadly, it does not. Oh, also, he's very top-heavy, and my knees aren't that strong on my figure. I could probably fix that. Posability. Head. Typical Headmaster, or Titan's Master, or Prime Master, whatever the heck you want to call him. Shoulder is a series of hinges and swivels, so a swivel for around the world, a hinge for in and out, swivel on the bicep, hinge at the elbow for 90 degrees. Fists do not articulate. There is no torso articulation. Hips, forward and back, though you are limited by the kibble. In and out is limited. Swivel at the upper thigh, 90-degree bend at the knee. Then there is ankle articulation as part of the transformation, but just be careful, because there is this tiny little peg, and this tiny little peg hole that, well, I'm real worried that's going to break eventually. Let's just put it that way. Now, in robot mode, you do have to be wary of the cockpit. It does unpeg very easily, which is a shame. And I was dead set on these pegs on the back of the wings. Well, I would thought that, this little butt flap could peg into them, but it can't. It just kind of rests like that, unfortunately. Ah, well. You can get a couple of decent poses out of the figure, and you just saw me pose him earlier in the beginning of this video. He does have a couple of Siege ports, one port on each shoulder, one port on each forearm, one port on each of the back of the legs, one port on each of the wings on his back, two ports on the underside of the nose cone, and then his feet have two ports each. So you can fully armor him up. Though, good luck, because he's just going to fall over if you, put too much on the top. Now, back to the plastic. The plastic does not give a good look. It doesn't work well. It is muted. It's very dull. And again, it feels fragile. But I can't argue with the molding. I actually really like the molding. It works well. So, transformation. Which mode should we go to first? Well, let's go to the gorilla. To start off with getting to the gorilla form, we're going to grab his head and rip it off. And simply turn the robot head around, and there's the gorilla head. To start off with, we'll fold the fists up into the forearms, and then fold the fists directly backwards and peg them into the back of the shoulders, like so. And once we do that, we can then take the entire fuselage of the vehicle, of the jet, nose cone of the jet, and pull it down off the back. Come to the back wings, unpeg them from the back of the ape feet, and pull them out and away from the body. And it's not that easy to do. You kind of have to just wiggle them out and away. Then we can take the shoulders and rotate them forward and extend the ape legs and feet out like that, and then collapse the wings back into place like so. Next, for the robot feet. Come to the bottom and flip the feet towards the down on the hinge towards the inside. That will then free up the back of the leg to rotate out. And if you're not careful, you'll just pop the ball joint off like I just did there. The best way to get the back of the leg to fold out is actually to push on the inside of the front of the leg, and it will fold out like that. Fold them all the way out so they're facing forward. Then we can collapse the knee and the leg up, and they will peg into place just in these little slots that are just above the crotch on the abdomen. Before we do that, go ahead and come to the feet, close them back up, and then flip the feet up like that. So the siege ports are pointing towards the front of the figure. Then take the canopy, fold it down, and close the outer leg up onto this white piece that was sitting on the figure, on the robot mode's butt. And there are two pegs. The first peg is right here, and that will peg underneath, so we can lift it up just a little bit. And then there's a peg on that flap that pegs into the side. And you just kind of have to work things in, get them lined up, and then snap them in. Get everything snapped into place. And this is actually a lot harder than you think it is. And I think it's a lot harder than it should be because the white plastic is so flexible. And I just realized I did that off camera, sorry. And then make sure that the legs are folded up and connected correctly in the front as well. And the directions are really bad. And I don't mean they're bad and they don't show you what to do. They do. But they're illegible. They're just not readable. And you just kind of have to be very careful, just futz with it until you think you've got everything pegged in to where it should be. And once you do, you're okay, and it will start to look like this. So it'll look like this cube, and everything will be pegged in solidly-ish. Then we can come under the cockpit, flip up this section here, and fold out the gorilla head, and then snap that down into place, and it should peg in to the sides of these pegs will go in right there. And if you don't have everything lined up, well, then you're just going to have to futz with it until you get everything lined up. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You're just going to have to play with it and move things around until you get everything lined up correctly. Okay, so one thing you definitely want to make sure of is that you've got these gorilla legs pointing down all the way, and this is just, it's frustrating. Not going to kid you any at all. It is frustrating getting him into the gorilla mode because of just the flexibility in the plastic. It's not great, but once you do get it, everything holds together well. You can line up and drop the gorilla face into place. Fold the gorilla legs down all the way. Then take the gorilla arms and fold them out. Lastly, what we're going to do is add the wing back here, like that. Fold the cockpit down and fix the head again because things just like to pop apart. Then add the gun to the back like that. And there we go. We've got one gnarly gorilla, a big grape ape, if you will. Oh, one thing I did forget to do is the shoulders do peg in on those pegs to hold them into place. So yeah, I think the gorilla mode works really well, actually. I like it quite a bit. I just wish it held together a little bit better. And I'm really hoping that BFP or BPF makes an oversized version of this figure, because that would be very cool. Yeah, I think this is okay. I'm perfectly happy with this. It does look like there's a plane hanging off the gorilla's butt. Oh well, not a big deal. But yeah, the other thing that's really cool is they hooked the gorilla's hands, so you can have him hanging off things, which is neat. I like that idea a lot. All right, so plane mode. First, we're gonna go ahead and remove the head master thingy, unpeg the head, fold it up into the bottom of the plane mode, then flip the plane mode forward and peg these pegs into the bottom of the feet. And you see how much flex is occurring with these stupid white pieces. It's kind of inexcusable in 2019. Fold up the arms as they were before, and they will peg in on these pegs, right like this. Then take the feet, and first we gotta unpeg the plane, or the wing, fold the wings down like that, open up this back here, and drop in our little head. Back here. There we go. And then we can take the legs and fold them up like so. And then we have the plane mode. It's definitely a robot folded up under a brick with wings. And the wings are too short to actually adequately provide lift. I think the wings are actually misassembled, because the flat part of the wing is pointing forward when shouldn't the part that's angled be pointing forward? Whatever. It's fine. It's not going to win any awards, but plane mode's fine. I just wish there wasn't so much schmutz all over it. Getting the plane mode transformed back into robot mode is fairly easy. Undo the cockpit, pull the headmaster out of here, out of the back, then fold the arms down, because you've already pegged in the ape feet to the shoulders. Then just start unfolding bits. And getting it transformed back into robot mode is a lot easier. Just remember to actually fold the knee correctly, and fold the leg in, take it in, and flip the toe down. So overall, I actually like the figure. I like the design. I think all the modes are okay, but the plastic does not feel right. And I realize people really hate when we reviewers say, well, the plastic doesn't feel good. The reason I say that is because I don't think this figure is going to stand the test of time. I don't think in 3, 4, 5 years I'm going to be able to pick up this figure and it feel okay. I'm really worried that it's going to shatter and break on me. So that is a real concern that we have to think about in this day and age. Not like those die-cast figures that didn't really break. Or, you know, what if this is like reverse GPS, gold plastic syndrome, and it's white plastic syndrome, and it just cracks and shatters at some point? I realize that's probably not going to happen, but what if it does? What if it does? So, should you buy this figure? Well, if you're a fan of triple changers, and you like headmasters, and you've always wanted a modern ape face, sure, go right ahead. But maybe hold off until it's on sale. Otherwise, maybe also wait a year? Because I have a feeling there's going to be an oversized thing, or oversized version of this figure. Don't know though. Either way, I like the figure, but I can't totally recommend it yet. So folks, let me know what you think of the figure down in the comments for as long as I still have comments. Thank you so much for watching. Oh, please be sure to follow the link down in the description to my brand new Patreon. That will help me continue making reviews once YouTube tries to murder me. Thank you so much for watching. I have been Baltmatrix, and I'll catch you next time.